the more I got into it, the more I realized that the float designer also designed the costumes, in many cases the invitation, and occasionally the jewelry. So they really were production designers. They work in every aspect of Carnival you can think of. Mrs. Alexander and Louis Fischer were remarkable artists who carried the torch from the Golden Age forward into the 20th century.
The work of two remarkable women who did it all for the Rex organization and other crews has thankfully been preserved by the Louisiana Research Collection at Tulane University. Both artists used ink and watercolor. After studying art in New York, Ceneilla Bauer Alexander moved to New Orleans and around 1911 started working for Carnival crews. She continued her Rex affiliation for over 10 years. Her work is truly her signature. Alas, there's no known photo of the artist.
She had an incredible style. She was perhaps the greatest draftsman who ever worked in Carnival. Her pen and ink lines are stunning. In the costume designs, she was relentless. She would write these notes that would fill the entire back of the board and run down to the bottom, and she'd run out of space, so she'd start writing up the right-hand border with very explicit instructions of how to construct the costumes.
And so often she would go round and round with designers, and designers really didn't enjoy working with her very much because of that.
Named after her father and showing an early aptitude for art, the flamboyant and witty Louis Andrews Fischer began designing for Mardi Gras while still attending Newcomb College.
Fischer was the first of the great Carnival designers born in the 20th century, and you can see modern design reflected in her work. Designs influenced by ballet, designs influenced specifically by the Ballet Russe, designs influenced by Isadora Duncan, designs influenced by the great French fashion designer Paul Poirot, sort of flowing, luminous designs that always remind me of the Grecian urn scene.
Well, I'm very partial to the Tarantella Girl and to the Pierrot and Columbine. Louis actually wore that costume. She was the Pierrot and her sister Martha was Columbine.
Active in the 20s and into the early 30s, a highlight is the 1930 Rex parade called the Jewels of Rex. Very much a part of the bohemian New Orleans set, Fischer was a friend of William Faulkner and artist William Spratling. After an over 30-year hiatus, she resumed designing for Rex and other crews in 1964, continuing for another decade.
I met Louis Fischer the Wednesday after Ash Wednesday, 1971. I had been buying vintage invitations and a few float bulletins. She knew how much I loved all of this, and she took me under her wing, and we worked together on a few themes. But I learned a lot from Louis, primarily to really keep a literary focus on things.
And if you want to see more of Alexander's and Fischer's artistry as well as other talented designers, there's good news.
We've been able to put every single one of those 5,600 original float and costume designs online, available to everyone, and they say so much about the artistic and creative greatness of our city.